Every single elected official knows that they are always welcome on the show, and all they have to do is give us a call up. We call them from time to time, but they all know that they are welcome. Some appear on the show all the time. Some never appear on the show. Our next guest appears from time to time. She has a very busy schedule. She's out stumping for Hillary Clinton. We're talking about the great senator from Missouri, Senator Claire McCaskill. Welcome back to the Big 550 KTRS.
Thanks, McGraw. Thanks for having me.
How's the campaign going for you?
There's so many campaigns, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to help with my Senate colleagues across the country. We have a number of competitive races. I actually was in North Carolina helping our candidate down there, and next week I'm going to Iowa to help our candidate there, and I've been trying to help a little bit with Jason Kander around Missouri. So, and then also, obviously, I've been trying to help Hillary Clinton get elected president.
One of the names you left off was Chris Koster, who is a Democrat.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you helping him as well?
Too.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah,
so
we talk. We talk all the time.
Explain this to me. Sam Fox is giving Chris Koster money, and the NRA has fully endorsed Chris Koster. And in many ways, many Republicans are endorsing Chris Koster. So read the tea leaves for me in the state. What's going on in the governor's race?
I think there's a combination of things. I think Chris has worked very hard. I think he is smart, and I think he is a very, just a terrific candidate and has been a good leader. I think there is some hangover from the Republican primary. I think there were, kind of the stalwarts of the Missouri Republican Party were all lined up against each other in that. I mean, John Bruner, who's now spent a veritable fortune, I think probably close to $25 million of his own money, trying to get elected to either U.S. Senate or governor. And, I don't know that there's anybody else in Missouri that has been willing to maybe than Rex Singfield, but he doesn't want to be a candidate. And then you had, Peter Kinder, who has been the number one, frankly, the only statewide elected official at the state level for a period of time that's a Republican. And then Catherine Hanaway, who was just, somebody who built the Missouri Republican Party. And so when all three of those people get defeated by somebody who, paints with pretty broad generalizations, that everybody in politics is corrupt and doesn't appear to have very many plans on how he would actually move Missouri forward. He just he reminds me a little bit of Donald Trump. He just speaks in generalities and never explains how he would do anything that would make Missourians' lives better. So I think that's why you're seeing the kind of unprecedented support for Chris Koster.
All right, let's talk presidential race because Donald Trump is sucking up all the oxygen in the room, and it's been well documented, all the gaffes and all the things he's not doing and pulling people's hairs out because he's just not doing it the traditional way. But the one thing you have to agree that he has tapped into, and that is there is a segment of society that feels left out from the recovery, that doesn't feel government's working for them. Life has passed them by, society's passed them by, and they're nervous and they're scared. And so he's tapped into that. Why is he able to do it and Hillary Clinton not able to tap into those people?
Well, I think someone put it the other day that he's like a human Molotov cocktail, which is not a bad description. I agree with you. I think that there are a lot of people, for really good reason, that want to kind of blow up the status quo. And so it's very hard for someone who's been in the public eye for decades on a national basis to be seen as a change agent. Now, the irony of that, McGraw, is that if you really look at what she has done in her career, she is the one who's done the hard work of getting people to agree that are in different parties. She's the one who understands that our founding fathers wanted our government to be founded on the principle of compromise. Donald Trump has shown no inclination to either listen to anybody else, take counsel from anybody else, or have an ability to work with anyone else. So the irony is, even though he's a shiny object to people who kind of want to blow up the status quo, he shows no capability of being able to work within the constitutional framework that I think has made our democracy so sturdy and important to the rest of the world throughout our country's history.
How does it work when you're a surrogate for a campaign? Do they deem you, Senator McCaskill, as an attack dog, or do you do that on your own? Like when you tweeted, when you tweeted you want Donald Trump to weigh in every day, is that coming from you directly?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not. Honestly, I have a lot of faults, and there's a whole lot of people in Missouri that can't stand me, and I get that. But I always just say what I think, and it gets me in trouble. And sometimes I say things that are wrong, and it gets me in trouble. And sometimes I say things I shouldn't say, which gets me in trouble. But I never feel like I'm wearing shoes 2 sizes too small. And so, the campaign puts out talking points, which I look at from time to time. But frankly, I kind of just say what I think I feel like saying. And that tweet was really, it was hatched with other women in the Senate. We were sitting around talking about it, how ridiculous it was. And so somebody said, well, we ought to do something. And somebody threw out the idea we should have a press conference asking him to weigh in. And so there was, 5 or 6 women senators talking about it. And so I came up with a tweet and I said, what do you guys think? Everybody laughed hysterically. Obviously it was a joke. And so I hit send, and then some of my women colleagues followed suit and retweeted it, and we were trying to make a point through a joke.
You have also been very critical of Donald Trump and his team bringing up Bill Clinton's infidelities, their marriage, saying it's a bad idea. You have been criticized for criticizing Trump because 8 years ago, you, with your mouth that roared, your words, not mine, when you told Tim Russert that you would keep your daughters away from Bill Clinton. So people are somewhat saying you're somewhat hypocritical in dinging Trump when you had issues of your own with the Clintons.
Well, a couple of things. First, it was a decade ago. It was 2006, and I was asked about Bill Clinton specifically in the question. I wasn't asked about Hillary Clinton. I was asked about Bill Clinton. And the minute I said it, I regretted it, and I apologized immediately, something that Donald Trump has never met, an apology, which is one of the things I think we want in our leaders, is an ability to have humility and to show that they have made mistakes and acknowledge mistakes. And he's incapable of doing that. And by the way, we're not talking about Hillary Clinton's conduct. We're talking about her husband. So what we're really doing is getting into the murky waters of how someone works out really difficult problems in their marriage. And I just don't think Donald Trump has anything to stand on. I mean, Hillary Clinton respected the vows she made that through good times and bad, she was going to stick it out, and she did. I think she loves her husband, and I think she wanted to work it out. Meanwhile, Donald Trump trades in his wife for a newer model every so often. And goes on national radio and bragging about his sexual prowess and talking terrible things about his former wife. I mean, this is a guy who said on national radio that the mother of one of his children was all tits and no brains. He said that, McGraw, on national radio. Now, I don't think comparing the problems in Hillary Clinton's marriage is anything compared to how Donald Trump has conducted his personal life.
Yeah, you really say it the way you think it there, Senator McCaskill. No question about that. Let's change gears.
That was not in the talking points from the Clinton campaign.
All right, that's good to know. All right, good. Let's talk about the Senate for a second, because there's only 100 of you, and I suspect that you have very dear friends on the other side of the aisle. And when the cameras are on or when you're in front of a microphone, you got to make up all these bad things and terrible things. But when the doors are closed, you work very well with Republicans, and Republicans work very well with you.
I'd say that is correct. I have a lot of strong friendships and relationships and a great working relationship with a large number of Republicans. Absolutely. And I'm very proud of it.
And yet, during the campaign, you have to go out and praise Jason Kander, while you probably have a very good relationship with Senator Blunt.
We have a great working relationship, but that's not the issue. And I would roll back the calendar to 2012, and when Todd Aiken, true to form, said something that was unacceptable to the Republican Party, no one worked harder at trying to get Todd Akin to drop out of the race than Roy Blunt. He knew that there would be an opportunity, an enhanced opportunity for a Republican to win if they replaced Todd Akin with another candidate. He did that not because he disliked me, but rather because he saw an opportunity for his party to control the Senate. And Roy and I disagree, for example, on many things, on whether or not you should have to ask your boss for birth control. We disagree on, how you should go about confirming and looking at a Supreme Court justice. We disagree on, frankly, funding for a lot of issues that we think are important. There's a whole lot of issues we disagree on that I think are pretty important, like refinancing student loan debt. So I would like to see those values and priorities reflected by the majority of the senators, which would mean it would be more helpful if the Democrats controlled. And so and besides that, I think a new generation of leaders is important every once in a while. Jason Kander is a new generation, and when I came to the Senate, there were so many World War II veterans in the Senate, but as you might expect, in the 10 years I've been there, they have either passed away or have retired. And now we have the lowest number of veterans serving in the Senate that we've had in a long time. And I think having a veteran's perspective in the Senate is really important.
Senator Claire McCaskill, tell us something that we just don't know about politics that you wish we did know.
Well, I think the thing that I'm most frustrated about is my phone never rings, or I never get a letter or an email with anybody saying, we really would like to see you compromise. That's why people are so frustrated. We're not getting things done because compromise has become an evil thing for the people on the far left and the far right. There is a huge number of voters in this country, and certainly in my state, that really do want us to compromise, but they're busy and they're not watching Fox News every night, and they're not hanging on Rachel Maddow's every word, and they are not seeking out information that just agrees with them. They are, trying to follow it, and they care, but they're busy trying to figure out if they can get to their child's soccer game on Saturday or Sunday. And it would really be helpful is for the people who want us to compromise to become louder voices. And I think people don't think of it in that context very often, and I wish they would. And the other thing I think everybody should know is that Hillary Clinton is really nice and funny and grounded, and if people got to know her on a personal basis, they would be shocked at how likable she is.
Senator Claire McCaskill with us last question. You've alluded to and hinted at the fact that you will be running for re-election in 2 years. Why don't you just break the news here on the show and announce that you are running for re-election in 2 years?
I certainly intend on running for re-election in 2 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got her to announce here on the Big 550 KTRS. Are you going to be in St. Louis for the debate? Are you going to be one of the spin doctors in the room?
I am. Absolutely.
Well, all right. Well, I'll look for your banner, and I'll grab a microphone, and I'll stick it in your face and ask you a dumb question after the debate. How about that?
I'll look forward to it.
Senator McCaskill, thanks. Safe travels, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, McGraw.
You got it. 9:23 here, Big 550 KTRS. We got a phone call from her yesterday after the show saying she'd like to come on and chat. And as I started off the show, elected officials are always welcome here. And I do find it interesting, the elected officials who choose to come on the show and choose not to come on the show. And from sitting where I'm sitting, we haven't had Jay Nixon on the show in, it's got to be 7 years. He didn't come on the show in 7 years. Jason Kander's never been on the show. Greitens has been on the show 2 or 3 times before he was a candidate. Now he hasn't come on. Senator Blunt picks up his mail here. He comes in and sits down and talks to everybody what's going on. He takes people's coffee orders and everything. Senator McCaskill comes on from time to time. Who else? It comes and goes. But it's interesting how often they don't make themselves available. And yet they'll buy plenty of ads, but they won't come on the show. All right, 9:24 here, Big